What is good? I have a question for you guys. What did you do when you got your heart broken in high school? Did your grades begin to suffer? Did you start sleeping around with your teachers to improve your grades? Did you then start selling your body so that you can afford a brand new sports car? And when that wasn't enough, did you get tied up with an alleged mob boss who hired you to put hits out on people just for the thrill of it? Well, if you answered no, then you, my friends, are truly one of the lucky ones. Today, we will be discussing and drawing arts inspired by the 1979 exploitation film Malibu High. So, a little background. Malibu High was directed by Irvin Berwick. Irvin Berwick only really directed a handful of movies in his career, primarily B-movie schlock. It was like a 50s monster movie, a couple of pulp films, even a couple of religious films, which he had made simultaneously as this sexploitation sleaze. So it wasn't like some born-again Christian type situation. He's most known for Hitchhike to Hell, which is like a very dark, lurid horror movie, and today's movie. Malibu High is technically more of a melodrama. All of the violence that occurs is due to the actions of a very over-the-top main character who just makes these wild, just unrealistic decisions. She's no monster, she's no serial killer, just a wild, naive teen who makes poor decisions. All due to a breakup with this cornball.
Of course you are dumb, aren't you?
Now, this movie comes off as both a parody of a cautionary tale and a very poor attempt at a cautionary tale. And I don't know which one it is, but you do get that kind of after school special vibe when you watch it. So the movie starts off by introducing us to the main character, Kim's breasts. Now, that's totally appropriate and cool because, you know, she's in high school. However, Kim does look like she's in her mid to late 20s, so that's a little bit more of a relief. Back to the movie. Kim jumps out of bed and she lights a cig, and I guess we're supposed to be like, damn, she's a badass. Look at her go, right? Then she enters the next scene with a cigarette as well, which is weird because she's completely dressed after that. I don't know if it's the same cigarette. That's just me nitpicking. But yeah, maybe she's a chain smoker because that's kind of badass too. Not the group though. Anyway, we get a cliche exchange between defiant teen and nagging parent here.
Kim. Sorry.
Kim and her man's Kev are no longer an item. We know this because her best friend Lucy comes to pick her up for school instead of Kevin. So we get to the school parking lot and we learn that Kev is dating some rich chick named Annette Ingersoll, who happens to be the daughter of some very wealthy dude named Harry Ingersoll, who owns half of the town, according to Kim. This is delivered to us with a very lazy, heavy-handed exposition, of course.
Wow, would you look at that car? Where did she ever get a car like that?
Her father bought it for her. Where do you think? Her father's Harry Ingersoll. You've heard of Harry Ingersoll, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, he owns half the town. But that's a common name around here. I didn't know he was her father.
Yeah, well, now you know. Now she owns Kevin, too.
I'm sorry, Kim.
Next, we get to Kim and Lucy's class, where we find out that Kim is unsurprisingly flunking. But to me, this does not look like a high school class. This is what I imagine one of those like court-ordered like courses you go to when you get like a DUI. But let's appreciate this dude over here with the single brow who looks up at the camera for a moment. Guess it wasn't in the budget to do a reshoot there. After this, in a room that vaguely resembles a library, Kim essentially confronts Kevin about his fuckboy behavior. And we get some killer acting from Kev here.
Hey, listen, about that dance Saturday night. Are we still going?
I don't know about you. But Annette and I are going. In style. Check you later.
Alright, we're back at home. Do some more forced exposition. We find out that Kim's father had committed a while back, and she essentially blames this on her mother, who was trying to keep the house clean but not his dick hard.
Don't joke about Daddy. No wonder he couldn't stand it here. You could have looked decent once in a while, instead of worrying about dirt and dust and greasy buildup. Maybe then you wouldn't have driven Daddy away. And maybe Daddy wouldn't have had to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore.
Yeah, that's the actual transition to the next scene. Disco music, super cool dancing, creepy illegal behavior, this guy killing it over here. Now this scene, I didn't count how long it lasts, but it feels like 5 minutes and there's absolutely no dialogue. It feels very long. It's just this stuff going on for a while. But what we do gather is that Kim and Lucy are out on the town. Of course, Kev shows up with Annette and fucks up the whole ass mood, causing Kim to leave the disco. Lucy follows Kim out and they decide that they want to go back to Lucy's crib, and as they're about to head out, they run into Tony. Now, Tony is a pimp, he's a drug dealer, and he's probably the most entertaining character in the entire movie.
No, it's still kind of early.
Kim decides to cop some pricey weed off dude.
$20.
20 bucks? What do you think I am, the late Howard Hughes or something?
They go back to Lucy's crib and they are smoking up. If you like pause this and looked at this out of context, this doesn't look like two teens getting high while the parents are gone, just a couple of chicks winding down after a day at the office maybe. Kim decides to get drunk since the weed isn't doing it for her. And then she concocts this brilliant idea to become a new woman. Then we get this unintentionally hilarious flashback scene of when Kim finds her father, who, you know, that obviously the S word is not funny, but this scene is pretty funny. Now, I got some Frank Reynolds vibes when I first saw this. Like, I thought she was playing herself as a child.
He's just a kid. How old are you, boy? 19?
Then Lucy comes out of nowhere and says, this.
You're still stuck in your dad? It's been nearly 2 years. Why don't you let go?
Now, fuck Lucy. Obviously, that's, like, grimy as hell to say. But 2 years? This movie would have made way more sense if Kim had kind of went down the wrong path after experiencing this traumatic event. I don't know, that's just me. Not losing out on what I assume to be very mediocre penis from this guy. The next day, Kim shows us just what she means when she says she is going to be a brand new woman by using red lipstick to deface this equally red heart. Now, they zoom in as if that makes a difference, but you cannot see what she even did. Like, it does not help. Also, this looks like some arts and crafts project that, like, a little-ass kid does for their crush. Kim, as usual, argues with her mom at the breakfast table, this time over her skimpy outfit. After, you know, mom's just slaved all morning on this nice, hearty breakfast of boxed donuts. which might I add might be contributing to Kim acting up. She's not even getting the proper nutrition she should be getting before school. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So Kim goes to school where she distracts all the boys, and Mr. Donaldson isn't gonna have it. So Kim, being a new woman and all, puts her plan into action, and she's all like, Mr. Donaldson, meet me after school at High Point. And he's all like, no. And you could tell when you look at his eyes, it's like, he's like, yes. So the next scene is probably my favorite scene in the whole movie, and it's like a altercation scene, I guess. It's so badly done, and I can't tell if it was done in one take or like 50 takes. Like, just look at the timing here. Kim punches Annette so good that Annette knows to duck her head down as she goes back into her car. So before Kim heads to High Point for her one-on-one with Mr. Donaldson, she runs into Tony, and she's all like, yo, Tony, I want to work for you now. I need some cash. And he's all like, finally, like, you need to put that body to work. And then she's all like, cool, let's meet later at the disco. So we get this amazing shot next. Mr. Donaldson is just standing in like whatever the fuck this is. They started filming too early, but that's not even my gripe. Like, was there like no other path to get to High Points? Like not a road, something less itchy maybe. They proceed to do the deed, and they roll around for a few minutes, and it feels like a very long scene because of this. And we, the viewer, just get a little too much of a view of some pasty old man butt in loose briefs. Kim meets with Tony, and she is forced to more or less prove herself to be a good sell for him or whatever. After this, she reveals to Lucy what she's been up to and reassures her that she's only really doing this till she can get a new car so that she can stunt on Annette and Kev. Kim's first day of hustling is jam-packed with dong action. She even does a whole entire construction crew, and I really hope these dudes is constructing a pillow fort, because this dude over here, this shaggy ass looking dude, is wearing bell bottoms and like a Party City hard hats and flip flops. After just what seems like one day of working with Tony, Kim has a brand new, very tiny car and probably a couple of STDs. Now, they don't say this, but I'm just going to safely assume that she does. She also goes to school and finds out that Mr. Donaldson is still intending to flunk her. But dear old little Kim has a trick up her sleeve. She intends to blackmail him because
You've left out one minor detail. That small detail happens to be the half-moon birthmark on the cheek of your ass. I wonder how your wife would feel about me knowing about that, Mr. Donaldson.
next on her to-do list is physics, and the low budget shows hard here. Now it's like a small deskless room with like blue foldy chairs here. But just like with Mr. Donaldson, Kim invites his older, grosser teacher, Mr. Mooney, to High Point. After almost committing vehicular manslaughter on her way to High Point, we get an awesome taste of this film's great dialogue.
A piece of shit. Have you ever gone around with a piece of shit like that?
She's just trying to prove something, okay? Don't let her bug you, huh? Come on, let's go, huh?
She's proving something, all right. She's proving she's a piece of shit.
Annette, will you forget about her already?
Okay, she's still a piece of shit.
There is a short scene of Kim meeting with Mr. Mooney. It's extremely short. Thankfully, we are spared of seeing any gross man butt this time, though. However, the next scene we are treated to is of Annette and Kevin. Now, the scene does nothing to add to the plot or the storyline. I assume it's just a scene to show us another pair of teenage boobs. It's kind of jarring because we don't follow these characters outside of this scene. And it's all so that Annette can ask her father, Harry Ingersoll, for $150 so she can buy some earrings at the mall so that she can wear them while rolling around this nightmare of a rug with Kev. Alright guys, 45 minutes into the movie, and we meet Lance. Now he's a mysterious affiliate of Tony, and he wants Kim to work for him. Apparently he's been spying on Kim for a while, as she's boning dudes, I guess, and he's very interested in having her work for him. He is offering her more than what Tony is offering, but Kim is not interested until like a couple minutes later when she meets with Tony, and she's all like, yo Tony, I want a bigger cut. And he's all like, no bitch, you better be happy with what you got. And then she's like, I just want a little bit more. And then he like physically assaults her.
Get the fuck out of here.
So they literally cut to Kim and Lance embracing each other and making plans. This leads to Kim enthusiastically trying cocaine for the first time, which is fitting because it feels like the editor is doing cocaine as well, very enthusiastically. Probably the whole cast and crew, to be honest. After another long, grueling scene of Kim rolling around with another old man, and also, why is this the depiction of sex in this movie? Like, all the sex scenes are people rolling around in underwear, and like, if you're gonna show boobies, you could show like some simulated penetration under a blanket maybe. I feel like that shouldn't be a big deal, right? I don't know, maybe there were rules to this, but I don't get the rolling around whatsoever. As if we already didn't get that Tony was a done deal, they give us this gem of a scene.
Hey Tony, this is Kim. Yeah, I got a message for you, pal. Get fucked.
Lance tells Kim to sleep around with a couple of more dudes, and one of them even tries to keep her captive, but she breaks free and ends up killing him with an ice pick. Now this comically occurs on a waterbed too. She doesn't face any consequences for this, but she feels really good about it. Then Lance gifts Kim with a gun so that she can kill our boy. I'm sure that's shocking to you. And she learns to use it almost immediately, despite not being able to recognize what it was at first.
What the hell is it?
Also, if the movie didn't specify that Lance is a kingpin mob boss in its summary, you wouldn't get it by watching this movie, to be honest. He doesn't ever say it outright. You don't see him speaking to anyone else besides Kim. He doesn't have any cronies. He's never on the phone. He just seems like a weirdo man that's like paying this chick to sleep with dudes and kill dudes. It's just very weird. It's not a successful character, if you ask me. But she wastes Tony with no issues. She does it so well that he doesn't even bleed. Kim doesn't have to worry about being linked to Tony's death because there's some fall guy. We don't meet this fall guy. We don't learn his name. We just know he's a bad dude and he apparently deserves it. She is then tasked with killing another dude for some vague reason. What I do like about the assassination of this dude is that it definitely answers my question about High Point. There is no other path to High Point other than to walk through a field of whatever the fuck this is. And if you thought that Kim already committed the most serious offense, no, nuh-uh, not at all. She does this. I gotta say though, I love how this prompts Kev to approach Kim, like not when she punches the shit out of Annette, which makes her bleed. Now the principal, Mr. Elmhurst, finds out that Kim is getting fake grades, and he knows exactly how.
Mr.
Mr. Mooney. Was it with the shed with
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Don't play games with me, Miss Bentley. I know all the tricks.
Somehow this is solely just Kim's fault, not the weird creeper old men in positions of authority. But this is the 70s, so there's that. This prompts him to want to visit Kim's home and speak with her mother in person. Now we could kind of guess what's gonna happen next because he practically dies in his office, but takes like some pill that like stops his cardiac arrest immediately. Now Kim's mother, conveniently, of course, happens to be going out this night, which is kind of a plot hole when you consider this.
You're always fussing, but you don't care about yourself. Look at you, you're always in that rag.
Really, Kim, what do you expect me to wear around the house? An evening gown?
Either way, Mr. Elmhurst shows up and Kim jacks his pills and flushes them down the toilets. This, of course, results in her killing him with her. How has this dude survived so fucking long? A bunch of irrelevant shit happens now. Some more gross rolling around. Kim practically admits to killing the principal in front of her whole class.
I still can't get over it.
But we finally get to the real action. Lance asks Kim to kill none other than Harry Ingersoll. Yep, that guy. I'm sure that was shocking as well. Now things go very wrong. Harry has Kim over at his beach house and he thinks she's there as an escort. Kim does kill Harry successfully. Blood even happens this time. But for some reason, Harry had been expecting his daughter Annette, her boyfriend Kevin, of course, and a couple of their friends to arrive just shortly after having his escort arrive. Now, Annette decides she's gonna run up ahead and tell her dad she's there, but she runs into Kim, who shoots her dead, and she dies immediately. The lack of urgency from everyone is astounding. Like, no one seems horrified at all. They all know it's Kim somehow, and Kevin, who seems the least fazed by his girlfriend's death, decides to chase after Kim. An hilarious chase scene involving an equally long staircase. And you'll probably recognize the music that is playing during all of this. Then there's an equally long chase scene along the shore, and you wonder why Kim isn't running in the opposite direction towards land, maybe. But I guess that makes it less convenient for the movie. So she ends up behind a rock and, you know, talks to Kev. They have like a little back and forth, and she's about to shoot Kev, but is shot dead from above by a couple of cops, and that's the end of the movie. I wonder how the cops were able to get there on time or find them that quick, or maybe they were just on the edge of a rocky cliff at the beach and lucked out. But I don't care to ask any more questions because it's the end of the movie. Do I recommend the movie? If watching weird, bad movies isn't your thing, then it's not worth it. Fun fact about the cover art though, Jill Lansing, who plays Kim, is not featured on it. Some other chick is featured on it. It's completely misleading. As a matter of fact, the whole entire image is misleading. I mean, you kind of get this National Lampoon vibe from it, or like another one of those horny coming of age teen comedies like Porky's or Fast Times or whatever other 1,000 movies came out in the 70s and 80s. Instead, it's just a very dark and seemingly cautionary tale with some unintentionally hilarious moments. Now, I hope you enjoyed my breakdown of the movie, but I also hope you enjoyed my artwork, and maybe you will consider it a more fitting artwork for the movie, right? Like, Kim is on it, a gun, there's a cigarette. I mean, those are things that were in the movie. like or subscribe or whatever, wherever those things are down there. And until next time.